So we have an update to our floor plan. I decided to take the plywood out, and I'm glad I did. If you just zoom in over here, these are two of the worst pieces. You see you got mold and water damage and other crap there. So it's deceptive. It happens around the wheel wells, but we'll go inside and take a look. So we've modified our floor plan. I decided to pull the plywood up, and I'm glad I did because it revealed some rust around the wheel wells and also some mold issues that are more obvious on the plywood boards we pulled up outside. It's deceiving because when you look at the bottom of this bus, there's a lot of undercoating, which I think is luring people to think that the floor is okay and everything's fine, but the reality is this moisture comes from the inside of the bus, from the people in here, the humans, spilled drinks, leaking skylights, etc. So I'm glad we pulled the plywood up because I got to deal with all this, clean it up. I don't want this, if there's any mold, I don't want the spores seeping up through the floor or getting into the living space, and that's good. So I'm doing a quick little overview of taking the floor out. I decided to pull the plywood out of the bus. I'm gonna have my wife come in and actually film this better in a minute. I just wanted to show all the light rust and slight water damage around wheel wells. And then in the back, I ran into some mold, so I want to get that cleaned out before I bring the mook jobs in here. So you can see some of it, but it's galvanized steel, so I'm not really worried about it like implanting spores. So definitely wheel wells. I have a theory on that, but I'll get into that later. I just want to document what we're up against before I come in and clean it. Sorry if this is not good camera work. I'm new to all this. That's what we're generically looking at. So, this is Josie, by the way. Hey, easy. We're still up against it on this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I think, as I talked about before, I'm just going to make it accessible from another location. So, if you look in certain areas along in here, you can see where there's some rust. So, something to consider is the floor is held down and the seats are held down by bolts that penetrate the floor, and so water can intrude, certainly driving down the road. And if you look, you see the light coming through these holes. And then when you take the plywood out, if you zoom in here, there's another hole there that you might forget that you took a screw out of, and that's where water's going to come through if you forget when you put your floor down. So if you come on back. So I was mistaken. I thought this was a big sheet. Hey, easy. These are stamped C-channels that are probably bolted together, and they make up the floor. And then these are pre-made wheel well cones. Don't do that. Hey, it's too noisy. That are sealed right here. And I think the problem is the water seeps up through this seal as it fails. And then also, you have these trim strips that are bolted down here, or screwed down rather. And these are the holes. There's no caulking or anything between the trim and this, so the water just comes up through it. And the skylight leaks through the roof, drips around here. The skylight, by coincidence, on both ends is very near to the wheel wells. So any water that comes in from above goes down on the plywood and runs over the little gap between the plywood and the wheel wells and just sits there and causes rust. The rust isn't bad at all though. It's really surface. I'm going to use this stuff, rust reformer. If anybody replies to this, they probably know exactly what it does. All I know from using it in the past is you break up the loose pieces of rust, you get it to where they're still bonded, you put the rust reformer on it, it stops the rusting process and converts the rust into a surface that is no longer rust, it's something else chemically, I don't know what it is, but it's primed and ready to go. So it puts an end to it. Be careful, bud. Hey, careful.